the biggest money you can make fighting somebody in boxing. And he's been retired for years. How many people are still calling out Floyd Mayweather, who's got on mitts now instead of gloves?
Yeah. No, I mean, obviously there's Errol Spence Jr., who made a pretty bold statement saying that he could beat Floyd Mayweather if he fought him in his prime. That's another question to ask the fans listening. Do you believe that? Or do you believe that he's only saying that because there's no way to find out? So that's a question. We obviously have Amir Khan, who somehow we always end up getting the Floyd Mayweather's name out of his mouth. I saw Leonard Ellerbe tweet today saying, like, get over it. Like, let it go. Like, just stop talking about it. And so I ask you guys the same question. Like, is it just annoying at this point to keep hearing Floyd Mayweather's name mentioned again and again when we all know the guy is retired? Now, don't get me wrong. I do understand that he likes to tease people and say that he's making a comeback. Now, when he at this point, we all know that when he says comeback, it's going to be in a form of an exhibition fight. It's not going to be the same Floyd Mayweather we saw fighting 4 years ago. So it's not the same. It's going to be exhibition events, much like the one we saw in, Japan?
Right. And the question for Amir for the recent years is, does he deserve the fights that he's calling out? We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. It's a hard case to make that Amir deserves a fight. But I can understand him feeling like he was denied something at one time he might have deserved it, or at least made very interesting, and didn't get an opportunity to get a shot at Pacquiao or Mayweather. So even though he's not in a position to demand anything of any elite fighter right now, do you think with the Kell Brook, Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao fights never having happened, is Amir Khan's dream like a dream deferred? Has this guy actually been denied something through his career that could have been defining, that could have made him who he thinks he is in his head? Has Amir Khan been wronged in boxing to that degree?
I don't know. That's going to be something, I think his most loyal fan base will say yes. But when you break it down, I don't quite know. I just know at one point, if I could go back those many years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, and offer the guy any type of advice, it would definitely be, don't waste your time trying to get the 1 or 2 fights. Keep yourself active. If he had gone and rematched Danny Garcia, let's just say he wins, right? Let's just say he wins. Then I think that he would have been like, if he made his agenda to avenge his losses and then build his way up to a position to where those marquee fights make sense, then I would definitely say, that he would have deserved it. But again, you could justify or argue does someone deserve something in so many different ways? Do you know what I mean? So all I want to say is I am disappointed at the idea that Kell Brook recently said that he was not going to continue to maybe hope that the fight against Amir Khan can happen. It's done. It's over with. And then Amir Khan recently said, well, Kell Brook needs to know that I'm the A side and he's the B side. And I swear, I could have had anything in my hands at that point. I just would have thrown it in the air and walked away. Like, I'm just so tired of hearing it. It's the same thing. It's almost like Twilight Zone. Yeah. You're always hearing the same thing again and again and again and again. And you start to go crazy because you're like, bro, didn't we just talk about this 3 years ago? And it's the same thing. It's like, either make it happen or don't make it happen. It's really simple. And when I remember saying something on social media about this, when someone commented saying, like, why are you so tough on Khan? And I'm like, I'm not being tough on Khan. I'm simply stating the facts, the obvious. He told Kell Brook, do X, Y, and Z, fight more names, get a world title. And he did it, and he still didn't give him the fight. And it's not like we couldn't have had the fight. You got to understand, both guys have been available for some time now. There's no reason it couldn't have happened. There is no, scheduling issue. So I'm just calling it as I see it. It's like, I do believe that if someone believes that they can win so wholeheartedly, if Amir Khan truly believes he can beat Kell Brook, then go beat Kell Brook. I like the rest of the fans are like, either say it out loud, say I'm never giving Kell Brook the fight, or just like move on. Let's just move on already. And so I'm so tired of hearing it again and again.
All right. So finally, I think we've got 3 good questions. And the last 2, I can't help but ask. It's going to be a bit ridiculous, but it is Fake News Friday. So everybody's got to take these questions with a grain of salt. Okay? Mike Tyson is definitely training for something. I don't know if it's going to be like, a celebrity boxing match, something for charity, or if he has somewhere in the back of his mind, hey, if this goes really well, maybe I can get one more like sanctioned professional fight. But as in any comeback, boxers are going to make their opinions known. George Foreman has come out on the record, and even in the exhibition realm, he's like, yo, Mike, it's done. Like, we don't need to see you in the ring anymore. Your time is over. Forget about it. We don't want to see you come back. So to me, that is just the first barb of shit talking for a possible huge comeback for both fighters. All right, so here's what I'm saying. Would you rather see Mike Tyson return to the ring against like George Foreman? They're both super old. They both got gray hair if Foreman has any hair left at all. And Foreman's already talking shit. Sounds like a perfect fight for an old man comeback one more time around the block type of fight. Or would we rather see Floyd Mayweather return in one of those exhibitions? Amir Khan, Lomachenko even has Floyd's name in his mouth, and he hasn't called Floyd out per se, but he did say that would be his dream fight. Obviously, Floyd's a lot closer to it than what Mike Tyson is as far as his last competitive boxing match. Could Floyd Mayweather beat Lomachenko today? I'm not talking prime. I'm talking about if Floyd was like, you know what, let me grab this spotlight right quick out of quarantine and be the first big sensational boxing match to happen. Could Floyd Mayweather take on Lomachenko and beat him today? Those are my 2 remaining questions. And then what was the last one? What would Wilder take? If you were Wilder, what would it take to make that fight? You wanna weigh in on my last 2 questions, Michelle, before we go?
No. I will say this. We, the media, are responsible half the time for these, like for people repeating Floyd Mayweather's name and so forth, because we bait them sometimes into questions that do, make them mention the names. And we don't mention that part when, it's written into an article. It doesn't say, reporter repeatedly asked the question about Floyd Mayweather and they responded. And so I do know half the time these people, they don't intend to necessarily always bring them up or, bait them into, wanting to talk about it. I mean, no, we bait them into wanting to talk about it. So just wanted to clarify that. We do that.
With that said, if this conversation is still relevant, whenever I get a microphone in front of Lomachenko, I'm going to do exactly the same thing because I would kill to see that fight. I'll tell you right now, there's no cliffhanger here. That fight, and yes, even more so than the possible fights that are really discussed that are possible to be made, if Floyd Mayweather were to come out of retirement and face Lomachenko at 140 pounds, that would be the fight I would most want to see. To me, that would be like a marvelous boxing clinic, and I don't know who would win it. Like at 140 pounds, if Floyd could get down and Loma gets up to 40, I would if all these fights were happening on the same night and I could only go to one of them, I wouldn't even have to think twice about it. So
Hey Fight fans, it's Michelle Joy Phelps. If you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you go ahead and do so by clicking this icon right here and hit the bell button so you can get notified every time we upload a new video. And we also have a free app available on iTunes and Google Play. So make sure you go and download that. Bye Fight fans.